a wonderful place existed.
The Athenians called it
The
Acropolis. Free expression, ethics, art, philosophy. The Acropolis heralded the democracy. But if I told you the Acropolis has returned. Acropolis News. News from the Acropolis.
I'm an American. I like my cars fast and my burgers delicious. But what I also like is the government to get a warrant before it violates my rights. And that's why I trust NordVPN. NordVPN is one of the most affordable VPNs out there with a wide listing range of features, including features that help boost your computer's overall speed and performance, which with the internet here, God knows, not only do I need and use, but the thing is, there is a good chance that you both need and could use a VPN yourself. So why not help the channel out? Click the affiliate link down below in the description and get yourself one of the best VPNs out there at the most affordable price. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of the show. If you've ever been around children who lie, then, or like if you've had to babysit them or if you have kids of your own, the first thing you realize is when you catch children in a lie, what they do is they lie over and over and over again. And then it gets to the point where they've lied so much to cover the original lie that the original lie makes even less sense than it did before. And this new end product has just is incapable of reflecting reality because it's a lie. Welcome back to the Trevor Report. Let's jump right on into it. Jan 6 witness. Trump tried to grab the limo steering wheel to go to the Capitol, lunged at Secret Service agent. This is funny, and I'll get into why it's funny in a second. People have managed to get Amber Heard 2.0 trending because of this woman, and I am completely in favor of it because, well, women lie and men lie, and when women lie, it's the same thing as when men lie. But the problem is people view women lying as a different category than when men lie, when it's actually the same category. So the more we drill into people's heads that men and women lying is the same immorality occurring, the better. Anyway, this isn't even the biggest news from the afternoon's hearing, just the splashiest. There's a reason why I chose hot air for this, because, well, it's just hot air. Cassidy Hutchinson was Mark Meadows' right-hand gal when he was Trump's chief of staff, placing her within earshot of the two of them for much of her workday. So basically, this is her position, right? There's the important people. There's the slightly less important people that surrounded the important people, and then there's her. Now, she doesn't know anything, and we're going to get into why she doesn't know anything in a second. She's just an attention-seeking loser. But anyway, she's spoken to the committee in 4 separate closed-door interviews, but what she told them was compelling enough that they wanted to get her in front of the cameras. Evidently, she was reluctant, as today's hearing was only announced yesterday, and her identity was kept close secret by a committee until this morning. This is shocking. This is shocking news. This is so incredibly out there and wild. This proves
beyond a shadow of a doubt that Donald Trump is a racist, sexist, homophobic, Nazi, bigot, alt-right, MAGAT fascist bigot. This proves all of those things. He tried to grab the steering wheel, and there's a video in this article by Hot Air that goes into detail regarding her fabricated story, and we're going to get into why it cannot have possibly occurred in a second. But of course, Donald Trump responded to his defamatory claims right here. Quote from Truth Social: "Her fake story that I tried to grab the steering wheel of the White House limousine in order to steer it to the Capitol building is sick and fraudulent. Very much like the Unselect Committee itself, wouldn't even have been possible to do such a ridiculous thing. Her story of me throwing food is also false, and why would she have to clean it up? I hardly knew who she was." Oof. Big oof. It's nice to be able to hear from the God Emperor every once in a while. We have this today. Tony Ornato is denying that he told Cassidy Hutchinson Trump grabbed the steering wheel in presidential vehicle on Jan 6 or lunch at a fellow agent. A USSS official tells Josh Campbell. CNN confirms that Ornato and Enger are prepared to testify that neither incident occurred. So basically, a woman, a woman of very limited status, is lying as a catalyst to try and raise her status, which it's never happened before. This doesn't occur in reality. This doesn't happen all the time. This never happens. This is a rare thing. This is an incredibly rare thing. Women don't do this. There's never been an adult human female that has ever lied about someone publicly and defamed them in order to sort of siphon off that status like a vampire. That's never happened before. That's never happened in the history of anything. But we have this from EnduranceWarranty.com. Unleash the Beast, a look inside the presidential motorcade. Let's take a look inside the presidential motorcade. Like all limos, it has a thing that separates the driver from the driver seats from the passengers. Like it has a window. All right, and this happens because rich people, big shock, they drink in the limo, and you can't have liquor with the driver. It's against the law in the states. So Trump couldn't have reached in, and so what you essentially have to assume is that the window in the limo, or in the inside of the limo, went like this. And then Trump first he injected some Arnold Schwarzenegger juice directly into his veins, went all Viking berserker, and then after the window went down slowly, he then reached in for the limo, grabbed the driver by the neck, and then threw the driver around like a rag doll, and threw the driver out of the vehicle. And then on top of all of that, didn't do that. Like, the driver still could have just slammed the gas. So there's all of these things that happened, and everyone's saying that this impossible thing, in fact, is impossible and didn't happen. Big shock. Anyway, so Democrats are clearly very popular, which is why they create this just absolute theater. The January 6th committee is just absolute theater. It is a stage production. There's nothing significant about it. There's nothing of importance. It's just a way for people in a cult to proselytize to their own cult because they're completely unpopular. More than 1 million voters switched to GOP, raising alarms for Democrats. We have this from PBS.org. A political shift is beginning to take hold across the U.S. as tens of thousands of suburban swing voters who helped fuel the Democrat Party's gains in recent years are becoming Republicans. So basically, a bunch of people who voted for Democrats realized that they were lied to and realized that they were scammed, and then they're like, oh man, I've been lied to and scammed by these people. I'm just gonna not vote for the people who lied to me and tried to scam me, which is reasonable and makes sense. It concurs with reality. This is how people work. People don't like to be deceived, shockingly enough. Big shook, but it's not the Democrats though. The Democrats live in La La Land. Why Democrats spent millions in some GOP primaries betting they could sway the base. Colorado voters on Tuesday will choose party nominees in a variety of local and statewide races and put to the test a multi-million-dollar plan by left-leaning groups. They're hoping to gain an advantage in November. The November midterm is by influencing the Republican primaries. Democrat-affiliated organizations have spent millions on political ad contracts to boost pro-Donald Trump candidates in the nominating contests, highlighting the platforms of those who deny the legitimacy of the 2020 presidential election while attacking more moderate GOP politicians. Okay, so basically, the plan for the Democrats, who are losing all across the board and are going to, without a shadow of a doubt, lose the Senate and Congress, this upcoming general election. Their plan is this is why this plan is absurd. Okay, Donald Trump governed as a moderate, and it seems to be that the people who believed that there were irregularities in the 2020 election seem to have just gotten their information from the corporate press. Again, all previous Trevor reports linked down below in the description. So it's people who pay attention to politics, who are tired of being treated like second-class citizens based on their politics, and not letting that turn them into revenge mode and govern as a moderate. This is the extremism. What's going on here is a bunch of snooty Kens and Karens are snorting their Starbucks or whatever they do in that place with all of their effeminate genderqueer pals, and they're basically like, how do we defeat Republicans, man? I'll tell you how we defeat Republicans, man. We'll take all of the Republicans that people vote for and people think are interesting, instead of the neocons that people don't like but they've been forced to vote for because of no other choice for several decades, right? Let's help prop up another option for people, right? And these super authoritarian, alt-right, Nazi, MAGAT, fascist bigots, and who govern as moderates because they're dog whistling to their base or whatever. And you could see the writing. You could see the writing. This presumably some of these people were writing a book in Starbucks and tweeting from their laptops as well, potentially. And it just becomes one of those things where how far from reality do you have to be? It's just one 30-second Democrat Colorado ad aired on June 8th portrays Hanks as a candidate who wants to build Trump's border wall and increase access to guns, deeming him too conservative for Colorado. Okay, so So he wants to enforce the borders of a sovereign country based on the terms of said sovereign country, and he wants to increase people's access to their Second Amendment rights. This is Nazism, right? Constitutional republicanism is this thing over here, and then there's this thing over here, this left-wing thing called fascism, and they think they're the same thing. They're not the same thing. They're clearly not the same thing, but it's more than that. Remember in the previous Trevor report, and as always, all previous Trevor reports linked down below in the description, but I'll link with this one special, where we went over the South Carolina rep who was a Democrat rep who was calling for secret sleeper agents who are secretly leftists to act as Republicans, who's calling for duffel bags filled with dope money to be delivered to her campaign. And a bunch of other insane things. Well, she won because, the people who vote for Democrats are ignorant, and the Democrats are evil. Anyway, moving on to that. We don't need to dwell on that any longer. That's obvious. There's a leaked audio from Biden. Biden said says over and over again he never talked with Hunter Biden about business dealings, but there's a leaked audio recording that says that he has, which of course he has, and I'll link it in the description of this video. If you're listening to this on Spotify, I've hyperlinked it. I've hyperlinked it in the description, but of course, fathers and daughter. Look, I haven't seen my dad in 10 years, so I don't actually know. But if I was with if my parents were still together and I still talked to my dad, I don't want to get into that story. I would presumably talk with my dad about business dealings. Look, anyone who's even remotely familiar about the human experience would understand perfectly that, of course, they talked about their own business dealings with each other, especially when Joe Biden was the second most powerful person on the planet. While Hunter Biden was doing business dealings, of course they talked about it. Okay, of course they talked about it. So we have definitely not evil people, definitely not corrupt people. But let's contrast that with the alt-right MAGAT fascist bigotry that's in the neo-Nazi alt-right maggots or whatever. DeSantis signs nearly 36 bills, including banning smoking and giving parents more rights, giving people more rights. It's what a fascist would do. Let's just get to All right, let's do it right here. Require the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles to issue, replace, or renew an identification card at no charge to anyone with a valid Florida voter registration card and who is experiencing financial hardship. It would also allow people 80 and older to have an identification card issued if they lose driving privileges due to a failed vision test. Allow religious institutions to conduct services during state-declared emergencies. Make it a felony to buy, sell, or trade stolen sexually explicit images from someone's phone or other digital services. It will also make disseminating altered or created sexually explicit images known as deepfakes a felony and strengthen child pornography, revenge porn, and bestiality laws. This is such maggot fascisms and stuff. Require local governments to hold referendums on tax issues on the same day as the general election. That should happen everywhere. That's a really good idea. Make it easier for grandparents to receive visitation rights to spend time with the grandchildren. Prohibit state agencies and local governments from making payments due to ransomware incidents. Require newly hired government employees to be trained in cybersecurity. made significant changes to the state's alimony laws, including the elimination of lifetime alimony, prohibiting awarding alimony to a person who earns more than their spouse, and creating a rebuttable presumption that shared custody is the best interest of the child, which it is in most cases. Allow businesses that have been established for at least 3 years to sue local governments over ordinances if they cause a 15% or more loss in profit. If a business did sue a city or a county, the ordinance would have been suspended until the case is settled. Judges would have had the option of requiring governments to pay the business's legal fees if the court strikes down an ordinance. Ooh, these are all good ideas. These are all good ideas. This is all about the individual sovereign citizen instead of making the state proletariat. So it's not fascism. It's definitionally speaking not fascism. It's not trying to make the Aryan race proletariat. So it's not National Socialism. So there's no national syndicalism. There seems to be no post-Hegelian. There seems to be no post-Hegelian philosophy in any of the things that he's doing, so he definitionally cannot be a part of the socialist debauchery of the human experience. So there's nothing wrong with the moderates doing moderate things. Anyway, gotta move on. Ghislaine, 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 however you pronounce it, Maxwell sentenced to 20 years in prison for sex trafficking, and she is definitely not suicidal. She will never. She definitely will not. She's definitely not going to end up Epsteining herself, and that's definitely not going to happen. I'm calling it right now. Maxwell did not kill herself. When you do the hashtag, okay, cut out the when she eventually Epsteins herself. Okay, cut out the Ghislaine and just do Maxwell didn't kill herself. Okay, it will make the hashtag a lot easier and a lot more digestible. Just putting that out there. In the meantime, my name is Trevor Brown, and you just watched the Trevor Report. Do click the Linktree that down below in the description that I was forced to make that because Linktree banned my Linktree for opposing black nationalism, so I made my new one down below in the description. Oh, and while you're at it, make sure you share this video. If you've seen it, share it. Share it with your mom. Share it with your dad. Share it with your neighbors. Share it with the rest of your family. Take this video to your church okay, maybe not take this video to your church. Are you on a date and you're dating are you on a date with a big titty MILF? Well, guess what? Show that big titty MILF this video. Please.
The Trevor Report is sponsored by Acropolis News Network, the world's first fully independent media organization powered by peer-to-peer advertising, Liberty platforms, and cryptocurrency. On theacropolisnews.com, we have a different standard of journalism. We adhere to the Nicomedean ethics as outlined by Aristotle, and unlike a traditional show, what we have at Acropolis News Network is a decentralized network of fully independent online content creators. You can go to where to watch/chat/support over on theacropolisnews.com, where we have a bunch of information where you can contact Acropolis News Network and even engage with the wider audience of the Acropolis. And we also have a premium subscription, and with this premium subscription you can get access to a ton of cool features. Cool features like an entire series where not only do I break down the best arguments of critical race theory, I also go over how to defeat those arguments and a counter-narrative specifically for integrationists in order to counter the cultural colonization that critical race theorists engage in. I also have this article that I just put out there where it's basically I analyze time travel as a concept, and I go through and I draw on Michael Oakeshott and Aristotle in order to navigate a way through determining the validity of time travel without going into the science of it, and actually going into why going into the science of it is kind of pointless. So if you want to check those out, do get a premium subscription, and in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the show.
Acropolis News. News from the Acropolis.
All of you brilliant viewers out there, my name is Trevor Brown. I am the editor-in-chief of Acropolis News Network because I can give myself whatever name and title I want because I own it. You could go to theacropolisnews.com, or you could go to This Just Trevor on whatever Liberty platform is your choice. You know, except for the ones I'm not on because I haven't seen them pretty much.
Acropolis News. News from the Acropolis.